recording. Okay. We'll go on with who we've got. I didn't think we'd have a lot of people tonight, and it's okay. This is going to be very informal. Those of you that have muted yourselves, you can unmute yourself, and at this point, we can just talk. And I'm going to answer questions based on where you might be at this point. Anything that you might need clarity about, so that we can bring closure to what we're doing with 601. So anything about the APTEL, anything about task stream requirements at this point, anything that you might, it's okay to ask me. Dr. Lamb has joined us as well. Hey, Dr. Lamb.
Hey.
And Dr. Lamb, and I'm kind of glad. I didn't know if you were, I thought maybe you had a group tonight. That's why I hadn't even communicated.
I do just in a few minutes, but I got some time.
Dr. Lamb, while I've got you on here, then I'm going to take advantage of you. Could you, because some of them had some questions about what we talked about last week, and it was just going into, in fact, how much time do you have right now?
28 minutes.
Okay, I'm going to make you the host for it temporarily. Okay.
Okay.
If you would pull up, task stream and just show them very quickly again, and I'll send this out for those. Some of them are still having problems understanding what they're supposed to do with the 21 competencies in their folio.
Okay.
I've answered a lot of questions about that, and this may help. And even with their internship, when I get it, what do I do with it? And I know you went over that, but I think it would be wise. Dr. Hamilton, you've had some questions about this as well, have you not?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So I just think if we can just put it on here one more time, just quickly show them, and then I'll send this out, and maybe the light bulb will come on with anybody that it hasn't come on yet. So.
Okay.
I actually had mine pulled up, and I was going to, but you can do it much faster than I can.
Oh, yeah, I'm good. I'm going to pull up the example, too.
Okay. Do I need to close out what I've got on my screen? I do. Let me minimize that.
Do 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 do.
Let me see who has joined us. Monique, you've been in touch with your Zoom group, have you not?
Yes, I did, and I asked Dr. Lamb a question earlier today, and I forwarded the question to my Zoom team because some of them had questions. So I think we're good. I'm just on
tonight. That's good, and I appreciate you being proactive and being a leader in that. That helped tremendously. Thank you for doing that, Monique.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Dr. Hamilton, did Josh, did you communicate back with Josh about that?
Yes, I did. Mm-hmm.
He
I told him to watch the video.
Okay.
That would be the best instruction you could get.
All right, so I'm going to go to, the way to get in. Once you sign in the task stream, folios and web pages.
Dr. Lamb, we can't see anything. Okay, there we are. I had to stop share. I'm sorry.
Yep. Okay. All right. So I just went to folios and web pages. I did not go into the DRF.
Right.
Folios and web pages, and you have created your own.
Mm-hmm.
And so here's my latest one that I created. All right. So when you open it up, this is what it looks like. Now, please remember, the section for digital learning competencies is just so that you can read them and understand them. There are no live links here. You do not upload anything here. They are integrated into the 21. So under communication, there's one that's due here, and you have to read what kind of digital learning competency is due here. Now, I'm the one who paired them with the 21. I did my best in terms of what I thought was most appropriate. The digital learning competencies are all a little bit different. And so I paired them where I thought they fit best, where you thinking about what artifacts we generate in this program, what would fit best. And so for the communication one, must satisfy the following digital learning competencies. Promoting models to positive digital as well positive for communication. That's why that one is here. It's about communication. So that's one that matches here.
Dr. Lamb, while you're on communication, this is a question. Okay, let's say, for instance, I'm working on communication. I want to add, like you showed last week, I want to add a short narrative before I include my artifact.
Okay.
Show them exactly what to do to put their narrative in, and then how to go back to do their artifact.
Okay. All right. So if you want to do so I have uploaded this. If you want to, you can add an area here. I don't particularly like it when you do that. The best way to do it is to you can do a text and image. Let's see if it'll give us a box. There we go. So text and image, and you can type what you want in here. You can do it that way. See right there, and that will be right in front of, if you want it before what you add, that's the way you do that.
Okay.
See how I did that? I did text and image. All right, if you want it as an attachment, you can put it in as an attachment. But if you want it like y'all are talking about, now you can do sections. I do not like sections. That's the way you do the media that you asked me about. How do you write the explanation before the evidence artifact, before you put the artifact in? That's the way.
Okay.
You simply hit text and image.
And then they can also do an attachment with that as well, right? Or any of those other things.
Space it down like that, and there it is. That's the way. So let's look at Anera's example of what.
Okay, that's good. Yeah.
We'll look at Anera's example. Let me go over here to this one. So we'll look at hers. So as you can see, she just spaced down like I did. It's in the same box.
Right.
Just like what I just did is how Anera did hers. She just spaced down from the directions and started with fall and wrote it in, and then there's her attachment.
And do not take the directions out. Somebody asked that. Leave the directions in there. Come on down.
Just space down like you just saw me do right there.
Right.
Under text and image. And that's the way you do that. Easy as pie. Text and image, space down, write it in, and it'll be right after the directions. There it'll be. And it helps your reader when they go in to try to match your digital learning competency. It's good to have it right there so they can say, oh, yeah, that is a digital learning competency. And then she went in and told about, wrote a little narrative for each one of her three, and then she attached it. Look at that. Isn't that amazing?
Right.
It's just as easy as it can be. And it's so easy to grade. Don't make this harder than it has to be.
Right.
The point of this is to communicate effectively, quickly, easily.
Right.
And think about this. This is what I like about Anera's. She can send this to a potential person that doesn't know that doesn't know the first thing about a competency folio and task stream, and it doesn't require them to do anything but click the button. And,
Right.
and the directions are right there, what she was tasked to do. And they can see how well she follows direction, how clearly she communicates, and they can see the quality of her work as well. So that's why I love what she's done. It's just so simple. Now, I've had others, and Chris in Ashboro. You remember him, Dr. Stedman?
I do, yes.
What my Lord, his was just so in depth and involved. He did different sections under each one and had multiple sections and subset. It was like a maze. It was like an outline. It was just incredible.
He also became an assistant principal before he finished the program too.
He did, because he was smarter than the rest of us. Of course, he couldn't have been too smart if he got in this business. But anyway, the point of the story is he did his now. He was in a 5-semester program.
Right.
He had much more time than you folks have. Much more. He only had to do one evidence each semester. And
But
the
he did his semesters well, though. He didn't play around. He worked hard even in 5 semesters.
he spent the time that you spend on the second evidence every semester working on his competency folio, because he understood that that would be most relevant to get him a job. So just as much time as you spent on the APTEL this semester, the second of your evidences, he spent that much time on his competency folio because he was in a 5-semester program. You're in a 3-semester program. You don't have time to do multiple. That's why I said don't start that multiple sections and then you just can't do it because it's just so much work, takes so much time. That looks worse than never starting it at all. So my advice is don't start adding sections. You can do that, but don't. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. You can
What you just showed them is to me is very professional looking,
and
it's the easiest one to do.
It's easy. It's not hard at all to do. It makes perfect sense. You can come over here and start adding areas, and you can do links. You can. What he did was he would add new sections and then go down and then add sections off of that. But again, he had a lot of extra time and he understood the power of this portfolio, this web folio, and so he designed it for himself and did such an excellent job with it. First person that saw it hired him based on his web folio. And
Dr. Lamb, they need to know too, when they go to their own folio page on the right-hand side over there where our pictures are right now, if they click on those, there's instructions over there that if they take the time, it will tell you all kinds of things you can do if you want to do it.
Oh, yeah.
I've played with this because I didn't know you were going. So I wanted to validate that I had done it right, and I've been playing with this today so I could make sure that I understood it enough to tell them today. So it's there.
Yeah, but it's this is for you. Our accreditor says we have to have evidence of your competency, and it can't just be you telling us about it. We have to have artifacts. So it satisfies that, but why not take it that a little bit further, publish and share it, and use it as your portfolio to try to get a job.
And you're going to do that for communication all the way down, all 21.
Every one of these. Now, you're eventually going to find 3 of these that don't. Hey, you're going to say, wait a minute, there's no directions on this one. Something's wrong. Let's see. See, there's no but remember, there's only 18 digital learning competencies and 21 administrative competencies. So 3 of them, the first being delegation, does not have a digital competency that goes with it. Now, if you can think of one, you could add one there if you wanted to. You could add one of the others, and you say, well, which one? Well, you can come down here and read about what the 18 of them are. Right here they are. Here are the 18 digital learning competencies. If you think you have something that fits one of these for delegation and you want to put one there, that's fine. But I went through and read all of those and took way more time than a smart person would have taken to figure out where these 18 go.
Right.
So it would be easier because they can't be separate. They have to be integrated into part of the rules for us as a provider is that when you do this, you must understand how it integrates into administrative competencies. They aren't separate. We're trying to move people to the 21st century. That's what, hence the name of our folio now, where you understand that all your competencies should be in digital form. That you can't just say, well, that's something separate than these competencies over here. No, you've got to integrate the two. So that's when I took and turned off all the links in that, moved them to this so that I could show DPI and our accreditors that our folks understand, are forced to understand, that digital learning competencies are part of everyday administrative competencies, and that we are encouraging you to move to digital everywhere that you can. So if we went in and looked, okay, kind of working without a net here. CAPE Advanced Standards, if we go in and look at that, this is, okay. All right, so here are the two guiding principles of CAPE accreditation. So see if you've not heard me say this 1,000 times. Solid evidence that the provider's graduates are competent and caring educators. You've got to achieve competency, and we got to have solid evidence. We can't just tell them that you're competent. We must provide solid evidence. That means artifacts. That means real things that you created. And there must be solid evidence that the provider has the capacity to create a culture of evidence, to use it to maintain and enhance the quality professional program. And that would be the evidence part of your DRF portfolio. CAPE speaks exactly to our two folios. Number one speaks to our competency folio. Number two speaks to our DRF portfolio. We didn't do this to you because we didn't have anything better to do to sit and read these things and grade them. This is how we achieve these two bedrock principles of our accreditors, and DPI has adopted this for us now in order to be a provider. So that's why we have these two folios in TaskStream. Number one speaks to your competency folio. Number two speaks to your DRF portfolio. And you can see the language, solid evidence. Can't just be talking about. So folks are going to start looking more and more for the things that we're already doing. We're kind of ahead of the curve on this. I don't know that anybody else is, since we're the first school to go through CAPE in North Carolina, we're kind of ahead of the curve on the competency folio. Now, I know some people are using TaskStream for their evidences for the DRF portfolio. I don't know that anybody else is doing competency folio work yet. So you're ahead. And so that's important when you go to get a job, that you can publish and share your work and other people can't. Your competitors can't do that. So that's why it's important. My assumption, and I could be wrong, is that everybody wants a job, or at least wants to have the opportunity to get one if they choose, or prepared to get one if they want to. That you don't want one is fine with me, but it's not fine if you're not prepared if you did want one. So we prepare every one of you as if you're trying to get a job tomorrow. That's our mission. That's what we intend to do. That you are prepared. And so as you can see, this is why we have the two portfolios that we have. Now here are the standards, the 5 standards that go along with accreditation. And these are the things that we have to meet. Candidate outcomes specific to advanced level study, clinical experiences, make sure that you are qualified when we let you in, focuses on completer and employer satisfaction in your last semester. You'll do a senior exit for the college for me. You'll do a final reflection of how you've grown and what you got and what you didn't. And then quality assurance, that we review and upgrade our courses every 2 years. We do all those things. We just went through our CAPE accreditation visit this past weekend. Well, not this weekend, it was weekend before last now, I guess. Just
Yeah.
Time flies when you're just not having fun. So we went through our site visit, and the MELS program is exemplary. We meet all of our standards in an exemplary fashion. So there's a reason why we do this. If we lose our ability to be a provider, we go out of business. This is a licensure program. We don't have any options other than to be good. We want to be good regardless of it, but we have to be, or we don't stay in business. So that is the competency folio.
Yeah. Dr. Lamb, before you leave us, very quickly scroll on down and talk about the internship logs specifically.
Yeah, you upload them here for right now until your last semester. Then you upload all of them in your last semester in your DRF portfolio. You simply upload your log here and request comments on the one that go to internship log, continue, and either it will link you straight to your clinical coach, or if it won't, just select your clinical coach from the list. And then they'll review your log to make sure that you've got your 80 hours, number one, and number two, that you have a diversity of activities.
And again, if you are in Dr. Crawford's 2 sections, they will be sent to me. If you are in my 2 sections, they will either be sent to Dr. Hamilton or to Dr. Shepard.
Yeah.
Or should be.
And they're going to be looking for a diversity of activities. Now, don't be like George. When George got through, we never got to look at George's logs until he got through. 385 of his 400 hours were bus duty.
I had George, I remember.
Down below Whiteville, about 10 miles below Whiteville, down in Williams.
I know, I had him in Fayetteville for a while.
Yeah. George did bus duty morning and night. The principal said, I just can't do without George. Just love him. He's done bus duty day and night. So I went to him and asked him, will you sign off on his competency to get a job? He said, oh, no. He said, he's done nothing but bus duty. I said, but you're the one that assigned him the bus duty. I said, that's great. Can't make this up, folks. I'm telling you. The very person who assigned him bus duty for his internship for a year and a half would not sign off on him to get a job because all he'd ever done was bus duty. I said, now whose fault's that?
That just ain't right.
I had to go all the way below Whiteville to talk to that man. We had to have a critical conversation.
I remember that well.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Lamb, again, while I've got your attention, the information that we sent based on our town hall last week on the OMA, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but at this point, that's as much as they're going to get until the courses are actually loaded in Blackboard, and they cannot be loaded in Blackboard until this semester is over with. They won't get anything else. I've had some questions about they want more information, more. We sent them the case studies, but we're not going to give them any more than what we've sent them. The case studies. I mean, they're going to read the case studies and just be prepared. But the actual work and then explanations, we're not going to provide all that until we start our 603 class.
We may answer a few questions along the way, but remember, you've got to start, trying to figure some of that. We don't want to just cut you off.
Right.
Leave you out there in the wilderness, but we can't just keep telling you everything to do.
But my point is that the purpose in sending all this was for them to begin pulling information together to look and see, I need this, I need that, not to really just tackle each.
Not to write it yet.
Not to write it yet. I didn't want, and I think some were misunderstanding that, thinking, well, we've got to go ahead and get all this done. The purpose was to get prepared so that they would be prepared when they got here. If you can work on some of it, by all means, work on it. But it was more or less so that you would have it all ahead of time so you could pull resources and be prepared to do the work this summer.
Yeah. Now, I gave them the template. I mean, I gave them the exemplar.
Right.
So they can see how it's written. I mean, you can start writing if you want to.
Right.
Make sure you collect up all that information before testing and end of school year. That kind of stuff starts when nobody won't help you. But I think if you read the directions, look at the example, see the information, I think you can write now. But
Right.
Now again, we can't tell you everything on this one. You've got to these start looking completely different because every school is different. We can't just give you a template that looks like we did in the AppSell and AppTel. That stuff was common. That was instructional stuff. The management stuff is unique to every school. And that's one of the things that you'll learn over the years in the business. The instructional format of how school works and staff development is the same in every school.
And Dr. Lamb, you did tell them that we were going to do intentional abandonment, which means that we're not going to forsake you, but we are going to back off more and more. And we may tell you to go to this or do that, and we're not going to be as direct with giving you some of the responses. We're going to make you reach out and dig a little more from this point on.
Yeah. And people say, well, that's going to take more time. Well, see, that's the whole idea is that you got to learn time management and you got to figure out what's important. There's not always going to be somebody with you all the time telling you what's important. You have to have an innate sense of when your knowledge base gets great enough, you'll know what's important every day.
Dr. Crawford, you ought to really understand this working with that 2-year-old. I couldn't pass that one up, Dr. Crawford.
That's just wrong.
Yeah.
Monique, you understand.
Ice cream everywhere.
Yes, I do. That
Monique has a little one too, Dr. Crawford.
Yes, I have an 8-month-old and a 4-year-old. Yes.
Oh, me. I see the sweat beads, Dr. Crawford.
Well, we just got back from New Orleans.
Oh, okay.
The
Okay.
flights were canceled coming and going.
Wow.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Wow.
We got caught up in Friday's foolishness.
Goodness.
And you traveled with the little one in the midst of that?
Yep.
Oh, God.
And so instead of a simple trip from Raleigh to Charlotte to New Orleans, getting in at like 5:30, it wound up being Raleigh to Washington to Philadelphia to New Orleans, getting at 12:30.
Wow.
Bless you.
Take it backwards.
Wow. Maybe he'll go to sleep early tonight and you can too. Oh, me. Dr. Lamb, that has been very informative. I'm glad you came on because I felt like they needed just one more little bit.
Okay. All right. I got to go check in with my other group.
Okay, I'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
Bye, thank you.
Bye-bye. Stop share.
Okay. Okay. Can those of you that are here, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Did that help?
Yes.
Dr. Hamilton, I think that cleared up everything.
Can you still hear me? You need to make yourself the host again. Let me see.
Wait a minute.
I'm making you the host now. And then share your screen and I'll go away.
You asking me to do a lot.
All right. Share your screen. You are now the host.
Okay.
There you go.
Oh, figure that one out. Okay. Now, the reason we were getting an echo, I think it was because of both hosts going on. But do you have other questions at this point about anything to bring closure to this semester?
Somebody does.
That's right, Cynthia. Does anybody have any questions? The work has. Let me hold just a second.
Dr. Lamb, I have a question.
Wait just a minute. Okay. Now, whoever has a question, unmute yourself. Unmute yourself, Sinitra. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, go ahead.
So can we not just use the artifacts that we provided in the AppTel and the AppSell?
Yes. The artifacts that you can use for your competency folio can be, and Dr. Lamb, if you go back and look at what he pulled up, if you look at them, just say for communication, for instance, communication will have APSO and APTO, and it'll tell you where you can go and look for stuff in the APSO and APTO that you've done. Also, anything that you've done in your clinical experience that would be relate to those as well. If you were, it may not have had anything to do with the APSO and APTO, but if in your clinical experience, if you had to conduct, you had to speak at the PTA meeting, or you had to speak at a parent meeting or whatever, that's a form of communication, and you can have a copy of your the agenda with your name on it where you've presented, and that is a form of communication. I'm just using that as an example. Or if it was videoed, the video would be a perfect example of you presenting in a public forum or anything like that. So if it's related to the APSO or the APTEL, or if it's a part of your internship and it relates to any of those competencies, you can use them.
So we don't have to use what we used in the APTEL and APSO when we describe we don't have to.
No, you don't have to. It's highly recommended that you use a lot of that, but
Okay.
you don't have to if there's other things. You know, that's the whole purpose of the clinical experience. So you can use some of those things as well. Does that help?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for asking that question, Sinitra. Other questions from anybody? Dr. Hamilton, does that kind of answer the things that you had heard from
the
your?
questions I saw, that was a great visual to help walk through that. I think that was very, very beneficial. If
Well,
not,
he did that
just
last week. He did that same one last week, but I got to thinking, sometimes, you know, we're no different than our children. We need repetition sometimes. And I just felt like that needed to see it one more time. And I'm going to send this, Dr. Crawford, I'm going to send this video out to you so you can get it to your, well, I'll post it. I'll send them out. Just put it in your core shells, and I will send it out to everybody after it's over with, because this is it's just a lot of it was a repeat of what we did last week, but I was getting too many questions about some things.
Week 15?
Yes, under week 15, yeah.
All right. I'll be up for a minute, so that's fine.
Okay, yeah, I'll send it as soon as it's processed, or either I'll email it and you can put it in there tomorrow. I'll email it to them and they'll have it.
Okay, that's fine.
Put it in there tomorrow. You going to get you some rest after this is over with?
Well, no, because he's eating ice cream cone right now, so.
Oh, okay. So you got the daddy thing,
so
okay.
you're going to be up for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so other questions. Sinitra, that was a good question. I hope this helps. Again, if you have a question, you can reach out to any of us. You know, we'll help you. Most of you are at a good place. Most of the scores have come in on the APTEL, and they're looking good, very good to be exact. I think we've got. I could count on one hand the number of people that still have to submit and get a grade, and we'll be bringing closure to that as well. So get your work in. Dr. Hamilton, Dr. Crawford, Dr. Shepard, and I will be looking for things between now and next week. And I would say that I know some of you are on spring break this week and you're waiting to get your internship log signed by your administrator when you get back. Put that on the top of your list. Get it done first thing when you get back to work on Monday, and go ahead and get that stuff in there so we can go ahead and do an analysis of where you are to see if there's anything missing, because we'll have to get grades in before the week's over with. Okay? If you have any questions, let me know. Dr. Crawford, anything?
Let's finish strong.
Okay, Dr. Hamilton, anything you could think of?
That's good. It was a great mental model. That was good.
Okay. And Dr. Shepard, I don't think, Dr. Shepard's out of town. He was not going to be with us. So, but anyway, those of you that joined, thank you so much for joining. And again, reach out to us if you need us. Okay.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night,
Thank
everybody.
you all.
Okay. Good night.
Good night.